So now move to the chair remarks. To preside over this session, we have with us Dr. Ratan Sharda, an eminent writer and thinker. So Dr. Ratan Sharda has been awarded his PhD for research on RSS, understanding RSS through its resolution, focus on Northeast, Punjab and Jammu Kashmir. He has written 15 books in English and Hindi. He has written 11 books on RSS and HSS, one on Guru Nanak Dev Ji, one about Vatsalya Gram of Sadhvi Ritambara. His RSS 360, Demystifying Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, Conflict Resolution, The RSS Way, and RSS Evolution from Organization to a Movement are considered most exhaustive, multi-dimensional trilogy on RSS. He has edited 18 books and translated 2 books of Shri Guruji, written by renowned thinker and RSS Pracharak Shri Ranga Harij. He is well-known TV panelist. As a political analyst and a public speaker, he has travelled widely in Bharat and in 25 countries overseas. He is involved with social activism, seva and advising social service organization. I now request Dr. Sharda to kindly share his remark. So the stage is yours.
Before I begin, I must say that श्रृंगाल जी हम घड़ी नहीं देख रहे थे, आप देख रहे थे डिसिप्लिन डिप्लोमेट. Actually, more used to it, I had to speak less. Unfortunately, it didn't take more time, so I have to speak. Right Honorable...
Just take 1 second. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Sharda ji's family has been so close to Chamanlal ji in many, many ways. I can also tell you, it was only the love and affection and respect for Chamanlal ji. He has come out of hospital just recently, first visit from Mumbai to any place. I'm very grateful personally to you for coming. Thank you so much.
So, respected Dr. Harshvardhan Singla, Dr. Shashi Bala, and I have, of course, a lot of people here. When I look at them, I feel so foolish to have accepted the offer of chairmanship of this program, because there are people here from whom I have learnt all my life. There are people who I respected all my life. To be in front of them as a chairman, I thought I made a mistake. But well, mistake has been made already. I can't do much about it. And also that the reason where I come from, I think some of the perks of being a writer and TV panelist is that people give you a projection beyond your intelligence and your capabilities. The only reason I'm here in the august company of eminent people like Dr. Harshvardhan Singla and other seniors is this image. So I would not like to break that image and speak much, because that would expose me. One of the reasons I came here, of course, was because Manya Chamanlal ji is someone whom we look up to with a lot of affection, not just inspiration. And I could not refuse that invitation. Second was that we also have this ICCS program. As one of the co-organizers of ICCS 2003, the first Conference of Elders of Ancient Civilization and Culture. And so I have a soft corner for ICCS, so I had to come. And this conference, of course, was something which was path-breaking conference. When I looked at it, I realized that the scope of Hindutva or this nation goes beyond its boundary, and that was the first sign of how we can take people along. This lecture is named after the gem of a mentor who guided and transformed thousands of lives without even remotely claiming any credit. We need to talk about Chamanlal ji because he never spoke about himself or his work. Dr. Amarjeev Lochan ji, who is trying to write a book on Chamanlal ji, would vouch for it. That's how difficult it is to get any information from about him. The photo you see of Chamanlal ji is one of the rare photographs. You will not find many photographs. And when I speak, I'm sorry, I'll be speaking more about mentioning RSS many times, because when you speak about Chamanlal ji, you cannot speak about RSS, because for us, his life and RSS are inseparable. He and RSS are one. He was RSS in action. We have heard about his zoology, great work as a wonderful student. but he chose a difficult path, what we call Kantaka Kirna Marga. And RSS Prarthana says, Shrutam Chai Vayat Kantaka Kirna Margam, Swayam Svikritam Na Sugam Karyet. This work is not easy, but I have chosen that work. I have chosen to tread on a thorn-filled road. And he came out at that time when it was biggest challenge, 1942, around that time. And we are told in the history that 48 Pracharaks came just out of Lahore in 1942. Out of this, 10 were MAs, 2 were doctors, 14 Shastris and others BA and above metric. 52 Pracharaks came from Amritsar city. Out of them, 4 were doctors, and many graduates and other people also came out. So it was a time when the nation was in ferment and Chamanlal Ji could not avoid it. And because the oath of RSS at that time clearly said that we are becoming part of RSS to free this Hindu Rashtra, and Guruji's fervent appeal to speed up the Sangha work, and that is why so many people joined the work. He worked during the turbulent times of Punjab. After partition, he came to Jhandewala, and as many people tell us, Jhandewala is the place where Chamanlal Ji came in a hut, and today we see a huge Vastu where we are sitting here. So he is the prana of this particular place, and we cannot deny that. And he not only worked, and he was a walking, talking encyclopedia of Pravasi Bharatiyas. He spent hours talking to people on phone, meeting people, writing letters, and in that one room, the world was there. He had such a warm relation with everyone whom he met or worked through letters that when his last rites were being done, 1 lakh people turned up. Media was aghast that a person whom they don't even know who was Chamanlal Ji. For him, how come so many people came up? And then I found a quote of Dattopant Thengdi Ji in one of his speeches. He said that a journalist wrote that RSS is an expert in creating faceless leaders. Leaders who work but who are unknown outside RSS. Chamanlal Ji was one such leader whom we hardly knew. The story behind cremation is also very interesting. He visited ICCS 2003 conference despite doctor's advice on the contrary. He was not well at all, but he insisted on coming because for him it was a landmark event. It was something he must have dreamt for years. The global outreach of Hindu civilization, as Shringla Ji pointed out, he was pioneer in that. And as an overseas delegate said in that particular conference, we look at Hindu civilization as a large ship behind which we smaller civilizations can move like a flotilla. Knowing you will not devour us but protect us. We have no faith in any other civilization or religion. And we see again what is being done by Modi Ji on the same line. And how could it not be loving labor for last 50 years that he worked for? So he came, he could not survive the winter. He fell sick and gave his body up in Mumbai itself. But Atal Ji called up, he was Prime Minister at that time. He said, I cannot come there because for my urgent appointments, I request you to bring his body to Delhi because I want to pay him the last respects. This was the respect he commanded, which he never talked about. Anybody whom he called would pick up the phone wherever he was. That's the importance he carried, but without ever mentioning it. And his relations with people are such that Mauritius PM postponed his son's wedding in 1992 till Chamanlal Ji could make a program to visit Mauritius. And despite all his popularity, hardly visited any country. Just about 2-3 trips, I believe, he had in the world, though he was one of the most popular people because of his relation with every Indian who went out of India or who came to India. And to understand this public persona, we can go a little back and look at this self-effacing, humble person to be a source of inspiration to lakhs of swayamsevaks. He was what I call, on lighter note, at 1942 antique model of Sangha Karyakarta. They don't make these models anymore. What is special about the generation of Pracharaks and Sangha Karyakartas that particular time? Like many seniors, I was fortunate to have met many, worked with many seniors of that generation. Some qualities are common to all of them. I say are because there are still some relics around whom we should meet. One of the persons I can remember in Delhi is Krishnanand Ji, who lives in Delhi. And his ripe age, he has written a book of 5-volume series on Sangha role in freedom struggle. So there are such people. They had deep abiding faith in Dr. Hedgewar's vision and Dr. Shri Guruji's guidance, that they were always optimistic and positive. You will never find them defeated or upset with any political upheavals or occasional setbacks to Hindutva movement. We always get upset. We are privileged to be born in an era when we can see the success of this movement from marginalized margins to a central pole of the entire socio-political discourse. But they were not there at that time. They were there when we were totally out on the side. So they never got upset. Only one word can describe their will, that is Atut Shraddha, unbreakable strong faith in the destiny of Hindu society and this nation. There was no place of doubt ever. Second was that you always find them smiling, never cribbing, because these were the qualities that kept them going when earlier British and later Congress ecosystem went after them, physically as well as mentally. Whether it was partition or Kashmir war and later challenges, these people worked with least resources, stingy to the last paise. They faced the worst persecution. Any other country would have rewarded them with recognition for the sacrifice during that period. But politics in Bharat fell in the hands of such destructive ideologies that they were persecuted, banned, jailed, their houses and businesses destroyed, jobs taken away, but they kept smiling. They faced political untouchability, rabid hate, ridicule and marginalization. Only thing that kept them going was their faith in destiny of Bharat and their optimism. I meet sometimes the older people, they become teary-eyed. They say that we never imagined that one day we will see this day, but still they kept on working. Chamanlal ji belonged to that particular generation. Dr. Hedgewar would say that I need men, not money. That's not the issue. He adopted Guru Pujan to finance organizational expenses. So MSEX paid for everything out of pocket and financed their own organization, the RSS. Understanding this and the limitation of resources, people at Chamanlal ji personified the spirit of sacrifice and extreme stinginess for self. All those Pracharak had were 2 sets of pajama kurta, one worn, other in the cotton jhola. None knew from where the next meal would come. They bore all this with sunny smile. Chamanlal ji would not wring his clothes to remove excess water. After washing them gently, personally himself, he would put the clothes, because if you twist them hard, they will get torn. He never ironed them. He kept them on a chair. When somebody visited, he would say, please sit on this chair. And people would reluctantly sit on the chair. Then after some minutes, press ho gayi, aap uth sakte hain. So that was his way of working without ever feeling short of resources. It reminds also me another funny moment between Raju Bhaiya and Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji. Raju Bhaiya's fourth Sarsang Chalak at that time was Kshetriya Prant Pracharak of UP. The local team got a professional photographer to shoot a photograph of Deen Dayal ji for the election campaign. His kurta was, they checked the kurta, it was soiled. His jhola was checked, the kurta that was there had a repaired patch on it. Photograph wouldn't come good. Raju Bhaiya was very upset. He said, how do you use such photographs for posters? Deen Dayal ji put a rough blanket like shawl on his shoulder and said, photo le lo. Log mujhe dekhne nahi aate, meri baat sunne aate hain. This is how most of the iconic photograph you see with a shoulder on a shawl, that's the photograph still around. So most of you have heard famous words from Chamanlal ji. When you entered the room and you asked, Chamanlal ji kaise hain? He would disarmingly smile and say, बढ़िया हूँ, अब आपके दर्शन हो गए और भी बढ़िया हो गया हूँ. Who cannot love such a lovable person? I had the great fortune to know him personally and be showered by his affection as I was nephew of one of his favorite Swayamsevak of Punjab, my Chachaji Jagdish Chandra Shastri ji. He is famous for reciting the first RSS Prarthana on a ship to Mombasa along with Manikla Ruhani ji. One half-pant mala from Punjab, other half-pant wala from Gujarat. And this khaki half-pant was what connected them. That finally saw the foundation of Bharatiya Swayamsevak Sangh in Kenya, the first Hindutva organization inspired by Swayamsevaks from Bharat. RS had no role in that except inspiration. The inspiration that sparked an urge to do something for the society wherever they went. And this is where Chamanlal ji's role was very big. The person behind connecting innumerable people from different parts of Bharat who went overseas was Chamanlal ji. His ability to connect people, inspire them, saw the growth of Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh in various countries. How in the age of no phones, later costly unpredictable trunk calls, could he be tracking thousands of Swayamsevaks or people around the world? And that this was the meticulousness, the abiding affection for Hindu brethren and the way he worked methodically. He may be considered the first resource person for archives of RSS, which has been a weak point of RSS so far. He had steel trunks under his bed with various memorabilia. letters, souvenirs. When we wished to mind an exhibition for Vishwa Sangha Shibir 2000 in Mumbai about HSS, I asked him if he had some interesting objects which could be put up in the exhibition. He took out one trunk and handed to me and after showing what was inside, he then advised me, Bhaiya, these are very precious objects. Do not lose them. After the exhibition, please return them to me. His memorabilia is the first treasure of RSS archives. He would also be very careful to use aerograms and avoid envelopes, they were costly. One may wonder whether such letters and greetings that he sent out on select festivals, apart from letters connecting people, were useful. There is a story I heard from Dr. Manohar Shinde. He and Dr. Shankara Tatwadi went to a remote town somewhere in Arizona to meet a Bharatiya gentleman. When they reached late in the evening, the gentleman took them to his temple room and handed them a greeting card kept in his temple with reverence. He had received it from Chamanlal Ji. This is how sacred and affectionate relations were built by him, and others learned from him. He could not trouble anyone, come what may. I share two stories of his compassionate and nispriya or detached selfless nature. It would show you what set him apart even among 1942 model pracharaks. I recall one incident during emergency days. RSS was banned. Thousands had already been jailed. The first underground meeting of RSS central leadership was held in Mumbai. I was one of the young Swayamsevaks who would take few of them to host family and to the meeting place and drop them back. On the first day after lunch, Chamanlal Ji asked me, where do I lie for some rest? I took him to a room and requested him to take rest. He looked around carefully and said, यहाँ तो किसी का सामान पड़ा है. मुझे लगता है कि उनको मैं यहाँ सोया तो उनको कष्ट होगा, कोई और जगह बता दीजिए. So I was wordless that a person is one of the most senior Karyakartas is worried about somebody having their space. And the story which will make you wonder, do such people still exist? He never had a negative or bad word for anyone and never heard him criticize anybody. Once he fell very ill after an operation that could have cost him his life. He was brought to Mumbai for urgent treatment. So I went and met him. I asked him, how did the things deteriorate so much? He told me very softly, lovingly, Ratanji, I had some urinary infection, so I did not go to hospital believing that normal medicine will work. One day a BJP councillor came to meet me. He was very upset that I am so sick and I am not going to hospital and took me to hospital. Doctor suggested immediate operation and they operated me. He then went away and did not return. I was worried about cost, so I got discharged and came to Karyalaya. This is not full story. Now something he didn't tell me was, somebody else told me, he came out of hospital, took an auto. He didn't want to trouble the Karyakartas of the Karyalaya. And naturally by the time he reached back home, he was in a bad shape. And the problem erupted in a very vicious way. I asked him indignantly, how could the councillor be so careless? He told me very gently, अरे नहीं, बेचारे को कोई ज़रूरी काम आ गया था, वैसे तो व्यस्त हो गया होगा, उनकी कोई गलती नहीं. How do you respond to such disarming arguments of a person who refused to get upset? He was true Ajat-Shatru. The civilizational renaissance that we see today is not just in Bharat, even globally in various successful public events that Shringla ji talked about, and the outcome of penance, tapasya of such self-facing, such sacrificing pious Atmans who gave all there with smile without any complaint, without any expectation, without any hard feeling towards anyone. He was one who molded the first generation of HSS workers outside Bharat with a gentle, affectionate training, never overbearing. Each country has different social milieu, each different political situation and culture. Contrary to what critics write, there is no way RSS could guide them through those unknown variables. It was persons like Chamanlal Ji and his juniors who would advise them how to conduct themselves in those difficult particular situations. Chamanlal Ji was widely read and had very deep understanding of international scenario. He had his well-studied views which he hardly exchanged and he hardly gave any speeches. He simply stuck to his duty of networking overseas Hindus. I did hear in a couple of meetings on international situation. All I can say is that they were unorthodox and they were based on his own studies, never driven by any media chatter. It's only fitness of things that annual lecture series is dedicated to international affairs by a person who has impacted Swayamsevaks everywhere, not just Bharat, but people of out Indian origin who contributed to societies they have adopted. The new resurgent Bharat that looks at the world with confidence is ready to chart its own course is the result of a slow, strenuous work of 100 years in molding public opinion, with work on the ground molding people. When people change from timid to supremely confident citizens, nations chart new course. And now I'll come to Shringlaji's view. Before I come to that, we talked about I would say the sum total of his speech was, we used to be reactive, now we are proactive. And that's where difference is, because we are no more a timid nation. We are a very strong, very positive, very confident nation. The old world order, actually, what you speak of, was not rule-based. It was US rule-based. Because US defined the rules which suited it, and now it finds that rules no more suit him, because everybody has learned how to play the game. Now they're trying to break the same rules, trying to break the same covenant that was there. And this particular turbulence that Bharat sees, will it remain a bystander of the event that bypass, or will it be catalyst in the churn? That is the question. And I think Modi ji's Global South approach, its vaccine Vishwamitra approach, and its very balanced approach. Many Western countries, dissenting with the USA approach, his approach of bull in a China shop, are looking at Modi ji and Bharat as agents of change. Many thinkers too have a point that Modi ji can lead the change. However, there are many imponderables. Maybe this is why Modi ji has been declining or shrugging off any such suggestions. Because to reach this stage, Bharat has to prepare itself better. It has to be self-sustaining nation as far as possible. And I think this is a question that Shringla ji answered in a way that when you become economically strong, then people listen to you, or you have urge to speak. Raju Bhaiya ji spoke of a incident in Japan. There was a exhibition match of kabaddi, and then people asked whether you'll play kabaddi. Japanese said, it's a losing country. It has no civilization. It has no values. It is hardly seen anywhere. How can we learn from them? From there to this stage, when people look up to Bharat, this is the change. I remember during the early years of so-called great visionary leadership, Guru Goenka ji of Vipassana met Nehru ji. I mean, we should not be naming too much because people believe that we are targeting, but that's not the point. Point is that he spoke to Nehru ji saying that the entire Southeast bloc, the Hindus, Buddhist civilization, they are a very big bloc. In the coming time, they can become very influential bloc which will control the narrative of the globe. And Nehru ji said, why looking at those poor people, garib log, Southeast ke, Africa ke, look at West. From there, now we have moved to a stage that we have become leader of the global South. We have become leader of an entire community which is controlling the major natural resources. And this is the change that we see today. And this is where we can say that there is a chance that we will be able to lead the global community in a way that suits our civilizational values. The earlier non-aligned movement was a movement of weakness, because we didn't know which way to look because of two polarized centers. We decided to remain neutral. But that was a neutrality of timidness. Also, people didn't believe, because people believe that these leaders are actually inclined towards the left, towards communist countries. So there is no trust built. Now there is a trust built. So same Modi ji can go to Israel, can speak to Saudi Arabia, can speak to Iran, can speak to USA on the same day, within a week, and get things done. So this change that you see is something that has come over a lot of time. And I would say that, as Minaz Merchant points out in Era of India, no European nation will feature among the world's top 3 economies. Interestingly, 2 of the world's 3 largest economies will be in Asia, China and India. This is not a temporary fluctuation, it is a structural shift. The age of transatlantic supremacy is giving way to Indo-Pacific century. Bharat stands apart. With its rise, it is attempting something unprecedented in modern world history, to become a major global power without abandoning its liberal, plural and civilizational values. And I think this is what we've seen in coming days. These are challenging times to speak on the new world order, where world order change every 4 hours. Depending on Trump wakes up on the right or the wrong side. To take the risk and speak about world order and what's India's role is a very challenging task. But I think when we look at the long term, Shringla ji has rightly pointed out where we will be. And I think we have to ponder over it, we have to prepare for it, and we must behave in a way that suits a global community. The COVID diplomacy, that is the real soft power we can talk about. The approach to various developing countries, that's the way you build your base, and this is what Bharat is doing. Thanks Shrinkala ji for your wonderful words and inspiration and guidance to people to understand the topic. I close my remarks. Thank you very much.